John Bishop joined the company in 1985 and has had the honour of hand-making every Aero 8 bonnet, including the prototypes. Meeting the challenge of how to create a near-perfect union was John's responsibility right from the start.
There are similarities to the standard bonnet. It's rolled up exactly the same, but the shape of the bonnet is more tapered at the front. The cutting down procedure is very similar, taking parallels off the wing, the cowl and the scuttle. And the wiring and the strengthening of the back edge is very similar, but the accuracy to the wing is a lot different because the tolerance, the gap between the wing and the bottom of the bonnet is a lot tighter than the standard car. On an Aero 8 bonnet especially, you cut it down to about a millimetre gap, and then you put your allowance for your wide edge onto that, and then you tuck it round a 3.5mm piece of steel wire. We use what we call dividers or calipers. You transfer a parallel off the edges of the wings and the cowl and the bonnet back onto the bonnet itself, and then it's cut to that. From that point onwards, it's done by eye. You file it up and just ensure by eye that everything is in the true line that it should be to the car.
It's a pretty safe bet that no other car manufacturer in the world would or could rely upon its workforce to produce such exacting standards of production. And certainly no other car would have an ancient tool, used by the Egyptians even, play such an important part in its construction.
The design team of the Aero 8 decided they wanted a tighter fit because it was more in keeping with the car. It looked neater, as opposed to the standard car where the tolerance isn't quite as tight because it's not needed. It's more slab-sided for a standard car to an Aero 8. The Aero 8's got a lot more shape in it, and it's very bottle-nosed towards the front of the car. So I've been with it since the day one, really, the original prototypes and fitting of the wings, and I had a certain amount of input on the design side of things as well, and altering the original design of the car to actually know that there's a brand new car out on the road that I've had input in, and I've also been involved in the racing as well, which is a sort of a knock-on from the standard production car sort of thing. So it's very satisfying. It's a lot more malleable to use aluminium, and it's a lot easier to get a nicer finish on it. But the pure weight of a steel bonnet is very heavy. If you're carrying that around for 8 or 9 hours a day, it takes its toll on your back. So we really encourage the aluminium bonnet being brought in as standard. And of course the Aero 8 always has been, sort of thing, which is great.